All right, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business. Go and check out its local search, its city search, and we're going to see if it's got BSS, yes or no. So we're back here at the GBC universe. We're taking the Klein Boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, video on the homepage, wherever. And this is because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Now, way over on the left, we got our highest intent people. These are our, Google and social searchers. They're searching for a boudoir photo shoot, like in their city right now. So it's the highest intent peeps. And over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. We got to reach them through interruption marketing, through, Facebook, Instagram. These people are not searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and nearly all of them have no idea what the heck boudoir even is. So we talk about that actually on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. And we talk about BLCS over there, and currently we only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But over here we're all about the BSS, so let's see what that's about. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're dead, kind of out of the water. That means we're on page 2 or deeper. And as a result, we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market, which is the bulk of the market, no bueno. And 1 slot on page 1 Google is not good either, because we're looking like everyone else. We're basically invisible. Everyone else has got 1 slot, and there's 10 organic slots there. So that means basically 9 other boudoir photographers. So what's a buyer going to do? They're, approximately 80% of buyers. They're going to be just clicking down, open the link to everyone's, to literally everyone's business, boudoir photography website, contacting everyone, submitting the contact form, getting a quote, price shopping, price hunting, comparing, negotiating, killing all our margins, and killing our business. So BSS, we do not know that. We do not want that. Now, 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. It's common, it's accepted, but it's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Yeah, as people people just eventually get new gear, get new iPhones, get new cameras, then they're throwing up the Google Maps profiles and they shoot boudoir now. They're creating their websites and they shoot boudoir now, competing with us for page 1 Google search dominance. They are increasing, or they're also posting in the mom groups and Facebooks and they now shoot boudoir. So it's just more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers, making it harder for every other boudoir photographer to get clients. Now, the second part here is new. That's the false belief of page 1 equality. So it's kind of automatically accepted with boudoir photographers, where it's kind of like, assuming or accepting every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 of Google, and that's how it is. You gotta accept it, blah blah blah. And maybe we had a lower page 1 slot on page 1 of Google, and then new boudoir photographer came in, their website ranked higher, and then we are, now we're pushed to page 2. So it's like, well, that's simply the way things are. Hopefully that person deletes their website so it stops indexing on Google, and Google can bring us back up onto page 1. But actually this line of thinking is incorrect, because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days using our new methodology, which we'll get to in like 2 more pictures. But what it tells us is we got to break through this mindset or this false belief of page 1 equality, because it's not true. Google will actually literally give as many page 1 slots as somebody wants to put in the effort to acquire. And again, I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. Now, a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, so if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, approximately 80% of the market's never even seen us. Yeah, we're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, we're still basically invisible. We're looking like everyone else, no differentiation. We're getting price shopped, getting killed. Our margins are getting killed. I mean, we're wasting our time talking to all these people, and we're disappearing boudoir photographer in that case again. And in both cases, this is like a a warning light, kind of a raising the red flag that our boudoir photography business is on the path to disappearing as well. But finally, we have a solution. We finally got a solution here. We have, after investigating and testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. It's what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, in only 10 days. And interesting thing about this is the only strategy or methodology I've seen for boudoir photographers that can allow a boudoir photography business to grow in the presence, still grow in the presence of massive market saturation, and have it, be able to happen relatively quickly. The only other option is to have a strong, massively known brand, which takes 5 to 10 years, which does not satisfy the relatively quickly requirement because we no longer have any time. AI is here taking people's jobs. We got to dominate our city ASAP. We don't have time to build a 5 to 10-year brand. But interestingly enough, using S-cube methodology, by my estimate, probably 8x the speed of building a brand. And imagine if using S-cube methodology with a super well-known brand, basically undefeatable. So how does this strategy work? It's exactly as the name says, social search saturation, saturating social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. And when we do that, that's kind of like it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. The snow is melting back there. They're in South America, and it's running off. You got small streams, small rivers. They all run off. They all collect into the Amazon River. So the Amazon River is page 1 of Google, but where everything starts, all our inputs need to happen is utilizing S-cube methodology, social search saturation. And, kind of an interesting example here is, let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're one of them. Everyone's competing. Everyone's got their boudoir website, trying to rank page 1 on Google. And we're like, all right, for us to compete, we gotta stop our potential buyers from even seeing any of our competitors. We gotta crank up S-cube methodology to the max. So let's say we are increasing, let's say we take over the first 300 slots across social search, across all the social platforms, and then that bleeds onto page 1 on Google. We got the first 300 organic slots on Google. Now it's 10 organic slots per page on Google, which means we're taking over the first 30 pages, and if approximately 80% of people ain't even going from page 1 to page 2, basically ain't nobody going from page 1 to page 3. Actually, they have to go to page 31 to essentially find one of our competitors. So if we're essentially on what peeps can find when they search on social media, when they search on Google, whose business will still be growing? Ours. Whose business will be shrinking? Well, the 999,999 other boudoir photographers will be shrinking. And as a result, S-cube methodology has allowed our business to continue to grow, even in a super saturated market, even with having no brand. But this actually helps us get a brand by my estimate 8x faster. So this is the magic of S-cube methodology for boudoir photographers. Next, once you're with S-cube methodology, we have page 1 visibility. So initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google. Second initial benefit is we are kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So they go to page 2 or deeper. Approximately 80% of buyers never even see them because approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. Awesome. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends us to get 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google, because when we're compared against everyone else with 1 slot, we dominate them. And super, super rare, but someone could have 2 slots. But if we get 3, we dominate them as well. So we're basically dominating in nearly all scenarios. Now, boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got our final mini micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. But now we know it's false. We can utilize our solution. Now we know the solution is S-cubed methodology. When we achieve page 1 visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now, my results utilizing S-cubed methodology, real quick here. I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. So I actually went to, I straight up used S-cubed methodology And let's look at the organic. So I started with 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google. Let's see, I got organic slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So as a result, in 10 days, went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google for the search term I want to rank for. And these are my results utilizing S-cubed methodology. Now, all right, main event here. I'm going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its its local search and its city search. Also going to see if it is hitting the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. All right, so we're going to Rancho Cordova, California. All right, so here we go. We're in Rancho Cordova, California. And let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. No, that doesn't count. All right, so we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS for our local search, and we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. We're going to go to our city search now, larger city search, Sacramento, California. Let's check it out here. Let's see. All right, we got 1. Boom. Nice. City's always harder than local. So, all right, we got 1 out of 10. And let's see. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 local. So we do still got BSS for that one. All right, so final result, we got so local we got 0 out of 10. So we got BSS. City we got 1 out of 10. We also have BSS, and for both, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you have seen you've had BSS for at least one of them. So, you're at 0 or 1 slots, page 1 Google search for, those terms, or at least one of those terms. Or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for any of the local or city searches, any of those keyword highest intent boudoir buyer keyword searches. And you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're seeing, hey, I can actually take as many page 1 slots on Google search as I want for as many keywords as I want, and I don't have to sit around and wait and hope Google, people leave the market and Google is nice enough to put me on page 1. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there, actually get you those extra slots, page 1 on Google. And you're liking the initial benefits, more slots, page 1 on Google. You really like the second initial benefit, which is basically kicking your competitors off. You're basically getting to decide who becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and whose business, boudoir photography business, starts to disappear by dominating page 1 Google search. You also understand market saturation, and you are, people eventually get more gear, the market becomes more saturated, and as a result, you are looking ahead, saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs right now. AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs into the future as AI gets better and better. And you're like, man, I don't simply need these links on Google, page 1 Google. I actually have to fortify my page 1 position. So no current boudoir photographers in my area can ever rank page 1. And also no future boudoir photographers that come from AI taking their jobs can ever rank page 1. Basically, like, I need to have so many links of my links Google wants to rank on page 1 that they're actually backstacking me to page 2, 3, and 4. And you're actually deciding that the best way to get all these links, again, S-cubed methodology, get all these backstack of links on all these future pages, and really actually fortify your position, kind of like the levees in Nolens, Louisiana. It's kind of fortifying the walls against the ocean because the city is below water. So you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only solution for that. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future benefits of S-cubed methodology, or basically you understand that as we execute S-cubed methodology successfully every single day, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns that are like plugged into your kind of like your cluster, your brand name, your business name, your social handles names, kind of like plugging these invisible thematic keyword columns in. And every day we build that up, we're increasing the probability that you are the one recommended up here as the AI overview and search, because you're just building up so much authority, repetition, relevance, age, with all these different keywords, the size, intent, boudoir buyer keywords. And so you actually want, you want that increased probability percentage every day of being recommended here, because it also comes with increased probability of being recommended through all the AI searches, all the AI search apps. We're building up this like massive back-end AI keyword search momentum. It's invisible, but every day it builds and builds and builds. And, so that's ChatGPT. That is Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. These are getting more and more popular every single day, increasing search volume every single day, with Google standard search, basically decreasing every single day. And last time I did boudoir photographer search in a city, I used ChatGPT, returned me 3. I actually did a manual search with Google and Facebook, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta, we gotta find any way possible to get AI search to recommend us, and you realize an SQ methodology is the best way to get these invisible thematic keyword columns built around your brand, your business, your names, all that. You're also like the future benefit of, kind of building your large, well-known brand in your area, making it harder for market saturation to ever affect you approximately 8x faster, utilizing SQ methodology. And you also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer for your city. So you actually you get all these benefits, kicking your competitors off page 1, and your competitors actually not being able to use these benefits. And you actually build up a large, massive gap in front of them, ahead of them, with these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of this keyword, back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum that you'll be able to achieve and not your competitors. And that's where you decide to be a first mover, adopting this technology, because you understand the converse. If your competitor is the first mover instead, then what actually happens is, they're getting all their links page 1, they're kicking you off page 2, off page 1, onto page 2, maybe on page 3, and fortifying their position so you can basically never get on page 1 again. Taking all the slots, turn up social search, so you're basically become unfindable. And then we're actually, building up that massive gap AI backend keyword mindshare way ahead of you, maybe to big enough where you can never even catch up. And what actually happens is, for you to compete, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology, or actually derive it yourself for the first time. You'd never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our execution every single day. And if you did that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you, because we'd still be executing it every day. So in order to close that gap, you'd have to out execute us, 2 or 3x every single day to begin pulling it back to back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum from me and your competitor back towards yourself. But again, you wouldn't have 100% confidence even putting in the time to do that, because you would never actually know if you've derived this technology correctly in the first place. And you're saying dude, who would even have 80 hours per day to do all this anyways? So you decide, screw that. You've decided you're going to be the first mover of your city. You decide you don't want to miss out on this. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But if you want, but when we do open, no, even if you want to contact us, you cannot. Even if you want to work with us right now, you cannot. But when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, it will be announced. Shoot us a DM then, and then we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.